I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. Now, Peter's going to tell us about the 26th of January and why that is the wrong date even for the so-called invasion, which, as I said to you yesterday, when we were talking about Australia Day and this great kerfuffle over it, which happens every year, for nothing. You know, we've got to get back to having one flag, one nation, under God, no arguments about these silly... We got more important things to worry about. We really have. And we've got to stop this welcome to country and all this divided nation business. We've got to stop that. I rather like that T-shirt. Somebody reminded me after yesterday's show, the T-shirt that proudly says, Australia, love it or leave. I think that's great. Australia, love it or leave. Well, I love it. And I do have an Australian flag. The one I have on my flagpole outside is a bit tatty, I must admit. I will, as we come up to the 26th, regardless of what Pete says, we come up to the 26th, I'm going to put up a brand new flag on my pole. Yes, but again, it's nothing to do with 1788. It's to do with 1949 and Australia becoming a nation on that day. So these people are wasting all their energy, all their time. And I also got criticised because we didn't do any dates. I didn't even know that you liked the dates. I just throw the dates or the anniversaries in because I think they're interesting. And people are too inclined to forget things that have passed, things that have gone. I don't like doing that. I like remembering. I mean, from where I'm sitting looking out on my walls here, I've got stuff, of course, that probably wouldn't impress you, but they're milestones. I find them, you know, newspaper hoardings and... don't get me started. It's an addiction. Collecting, I mean. Could I ask, as we approach Australia Day 2024, for people to join with me in asking, please, that we get together under one flag, one nation, under one flag, under God. I know that the socialists in Canberra are not exactly Christians, and they certainly don't like the idea of one flag, particularly if it's not the Aboriginal flag. That doesn't mean that they should get away with it or shut us up. Public opinion, the media, we all should get together to stop this nonsense. No other country in the world has 3 flags. I checked, not one. We've got to get rid of 2 of them. My preference would be, of course, that we fly the Australian flag. But we are a democracy. I think the people should decide, but we should get rid of the 3 flags. One flag. And as I said, please, no more of this welcome to country nonsense. This is my country. Don't welcome me to my country. If I go to one more function, but I can't say that in all honesty because I already do this, I get up and walk out. I regard it as an insult. People kowtowing or some sort of crazy symbolism or patronising gesture. I don't know what it is, but it's not right. We are all Australians, black, white, newcomers, oldcomers. We're all equal. Let's behave that way. Would somebody please tell me, with the massive rainfalls and floods up north, oh, they didn't get any of that right, did they? What is happening with the Murray-Darling? All the talk recently, which I duly brought to you towards the end of last year, of water buybacks. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. Taxpayers' money. We're buying back water for the health of the river. The river's healthy. They wanted adequate water flows. Well, for God's sake, you've got adequate water flows. Please, no more of this catastrophizing. It's unbelievable that the media doesn't get up on its hind legs and say, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? Oh, we'll just ignore the vast gigalitres of water coming down the Murray-Darling because it doesn't suit the narrative. We can't. No. Another story I saw the other night. Because just about everybody in Papua New Guinea is on the public payroll. Did you see the pictures? The footage? Amazing. Amazing. Because of a payroll glitch. They were a few dollars short in their pay packets, apparently. So they riot. Not only that, they burn down the joint. They loot the shops. 22 people killed. And the police were no better than the marauding mass. In fact, they were involved. These people, totally dependent on Australian aid. It costs us a shade under $500 million a year to support this nonsense. I mean, we know, we've known for years. We should have something better to do with our money. The place is lawless and corrupt. Always has been, always will be. I tell you what would straighten them out. You know, West Irian, which is the border, right? The Indonesians reckon they own the whole thing. The Indonesians take over Papua New Guinea, you wouldn't see any of this trouble. No way. No way. Why are we supporting, funding corruption and murder? Why? Bizarre. Don't get it. Ford and General Motors have suspended production on all electric vehicles for the foreseeable future because sales of existing models are so bad. Have you seen this in the popular media? Huh? I had a friend in America who sent it to me. Not reported in Australia. Oh, we're too busy promoting electric vehicles to actually report the truth. No, we haven't seen anything like that, and we won't. It doesn't suit the narrative. Here's something. Now, Pete, I don't know, I did send it to you, but I won't commit you to it because I don't know if you've got it readily to hand. But there was a picture of a bulldozer that its job was to bury the turbine blades of the wind farm.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I've got it, so I'll tack it on.
Oh, well, if you can tack it on here.
I'll slip it in here.
Here, if you can. If you can't, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But wind turbine blades being buried. This whole thing is disgraceful, a scandal. And nobody to tell the truth, of course. No more updated figures on detainees being released, by the way. Can I ask you why? Why this government is soft on border control and I think wants these people on the street? That's just a personal opinion. Of the 149 dangerous people released, when perhaps only one needed to be released because of the High Court decision, 7 have been arrested. But how many others are out there? You know, they won't tell us. They won't tell us. An inconvenient truth. I think this is crazy stuff. The High Court should be keeping us safe. Anyway, I've some more to say on that at a later date. The new anti-scam measures coming in, and it's about time. There have been a record number of complaints, but it seems that the government and banking forces, if I can put it that way, will be marshalled to, if not fix, certainly deter the crooks, causing this epidemic, which, I don't know, costs us billions and billions of dollars and a lot of personal embarrassment and inconvenience. It's about time. Now, if technology can come up with a way for these crooks to swindle us, surely the good guys have got the street smarts to come up with technology that can combat that. I don't buy that we are going to be victims of crime just because of technology. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, welcome to the hottest, driest summer in our history. Woo! Talk about catastrophizing. The hottest, driest summer in our history. Bushfires and drought. This was being chucked around before I said Happy Christmas to you last year. What rubbish. Water everywhere. Cyclones, storms. Last year, the hottest. Last year, the hottest. This year, they predict to be hotter. What again? Absolute rubbish. And not one journalist questioned these stupid statements. I'm sorry, what's the science behind this? Why are you saying that? Can you prove what you're saying is it's like the it'll never rain again scenario? Can't think of that fella's name. Tim. Anyway, he was here. I don't know where he is now. He's gone somewhere else because I don't think he could stand the heat. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be calling out climate change. Anyway, no science, no truth. 2023 was the hottest year. I'm quoting here. 2023 was the hottest year since before pre-industrial times. And again, they got away with it. But again, I say rubbish. There were no global records before industrial times or even after industrial times. The earliest I could find that anyone had kept a note of the temperature was 1885, and that was a local village recorded in England, nowhere else in the world. And by the way, the Industrial Revolution was between 1760 and 1840. You could look that up, couldn't you? You could, I did, you could. Not one mention made of the fact that the last 3 months have been the wettest and coolest in recorded history here in Australia. And look at America at the moment, being swept with some of the worst, coldest weather in history. No, couldn't report that. It doesn't suit the narrative. No. I don't know who is writing the stuff or who's calling the tune, but I think you're all disgraceful. You've got to ask, you've got to learn to ask why. And would you prove it? And how do you know this? If you're a journalist, it's about asking questions. Former Labour Minister Craig Emerson, one is almost tempted to say jobs for the boys. Who's surprised? Will head up an inquiry into supermarket pricing and the relationship, if there is one, between the farmers, what the farmers get, and what the consumer has to pay. I have no doubt both are being ripped off. No doubt. Then there is the Senate inquiry later this year into supermarket pricing generally. Why is this such a mystery? How much do these inquiries cost? What do they come up with? What are the findings worth? What do you do with the findings? There must be a great big room in Canberra with files stacked to the roof with inquiry findings that nobody ever goes and looks at. What will come of your findings? Craig or Senate? Probably nothing. Farmers and supermarkets, here are the facts of life. Farmers and supermarkets are free to charge what they like. It's only competition and supply and demand that can affect prices. The farmer chooses to sell his produce, the consumer chooses to buy it. You can't do anything about it unless you want to introduce the argument of predatory pricing or bullying or something. Well, I'd be fascinated to see how you get away with that. Oh, by the way, have I got any time, Pete?
Yeah.
Only a few days into the new year, and according to this survey, if made, any New Year resolutions have already been broken. Have you made any? Pete, did you make any New Year's resolutions?
No, I didn't. Really, I never kept.
Oh no, I wanted to lose weight, but I'm doing that. It's working.
You have.
I'm working.
Good.
I'm working on it. Sadly, there have been 7 shark attacks in the last few months here in South Australia. Oh God, that's a vexed thing. I have great respect for people who have the confidence to go out there and brave the elements, or even ride a horse.
You'll be doing it soon. You'll do it soon.
I think he wants to kill me. Anyway, I don't know. It's no laughing matter, but the bottom line is the fish, sharks, the dolphins, the stingrays. There's a lot of danger out there. This is their territory, their environment. If we enter that environment, we must do it at our peril. I don't mean to. I mean, I feel terribly sorry for the people who lost loved ones because of those shark attacks. But the thing about it is, don't be there. Don't be there. If that's too simplistic, I apologise. I don't know. I want to talk to you tomorrow about the terrible state of our health system here in South Australia, but it's really basically only an indicator, quite frankly, of the terrible health, the terrible condition of our health services around the entire country. And I blame Medicare. Medibank before it, but Medicare presently. But you may disagree with that, and on Friday you're more than welcome to give me a ring, 9 to 12, jeremycordeaux.com, and tear my ears off. Rip my ears off if you want to, if you disagree. If you think Medicare is the greatest thing since sliced cheese, well, we will disagree, but we'll do it politely.
The first fleet.
Yes, you've looked.
The first fleet arrived at Botany Bay.
That's right.
On either the 18th or the 20th. There's two conflicting dates.
They found Botany Bay to be inadequate.
Too shallow, poor water supply, and poor soil quality. So they would have gone ashore. But yes, then they decided to move to Sydney Cove.
Now, you say the date was wrong. You say it wasn't 26th of January.
That's when they went to Sydney Cove.
That's right.
The fleet arrived in Australia on the 18th or the 20th.
But they hoisted the flag and they took possession in the name of Britain with the flag and the salute, probably the guns firing and the whole...
Yeah. But as you said, Australia Day relates to
the Citizenship.
1949.
That's right. It belongs to the Citizenship and Nationality Act, passed on the 26th of January 1949. That's when we became a nation, and that's why we should celebrate Australia Day on the 26th. Now, you know what I did, Pete? I went to all the trouble.
And you didn't do the dates on...
No. I went to all the trouble to get reading glasses. And I didn't bring them down with me.
Okay.
So just let me labour with this. I'll bring them next week, I promise. I mean tomorrow. What are we? January 16. André Michelin, French industrialist. You know the Michelin tires and all that? Publisher of the Michelin Guide, born in Paris. He died in 1931, but born this day in 1853. Ethel Merman, American Tony and Grammy award-winning stage and, well, a great star. Ethel Merman, 1908. She was born in Astoria, New York City. The refrigerator car was patented by William Davis, a fish dealer in Detroit, on this very day in 1868. Golly. A refrigerator car. Huh. Phil Spector, American record producer, The Wall of Sound, and unfortunately, sadly, convicted murderer, dies of COVID complications at 81. It was 1921 on this day. NBC presents the 440th and final showing of the Western series Bonanza. I liked Bonanza. I thought that was a really good show. Well, it went for a hell of a long time, didn't it? 440 shows. That was in 1973. Christopher Columbus leaves the New World and sets sail for Spain in 1493. On this day, he went back home to Spain. 1941, there was a US admiral by the name of Bellinger who warned Washington of a probable assault on Pearl Harbor. On this day in 1941, it wasn't until, of course, the Day of Infamy, which was December, I think it was December, wasn't it?
Don't know.
I don't have the figure in front of me, but anyway, it was much later in the year, towards the end of the year, that the actual Pearl Harbor bombing took place. Carole Lombard, whose real name was Jane Alice Peters, American actress, My Man Godfrey, To Be or Not to Be, dies in a plane crash. She was just 33 on this day in 1942 and broke Clark Gable's heart. India begins to vaccinate its 1.3 billion population for COVID. It was 1921. Jim McClelland, Australian solicitor, politician, and also Royal Commissioner. No end of jobs for the boys, ladies and gentlemen. And he was also a judge too. He dies. He was born 1915 but died this day in 1999. They used to call him Diamond Jim. He was a very strange socialist. I remember talking to him a few times. He was a very interesting man. Diamond Jim, because he had the most beautiful... He was a very, very wealthy man. Self-made, I assume. Not exactly what you'd call a socialist. Lived in Point Piper, Wolseley Road, Point Piper. Very, very wealthy man. But still, a good Labour man. Ah dear. The daily newspaper comic strip of Superman debuts in 1939. Playboy announces an end of stapling the centrefold. What? If you didn't staple the centrefold, what would you do, Pete? I've got an old one over there. I got a vintage... I must have a look at it one day, because what was risque, dare I say even pornographic, in 1960 must be very
Very tame, I would
Very
imagine.
strange by today's standards. Anyway, that was in 1985. They took the staples out. There you go. Oh, and here's one for the climate change characters. Cloncurry recorded a temperature of 53 degrees centigrade. 53? That is 128 degrees Fahrenheit. Right? Cloncurry in Queensland, that was an Australian historical record. And that was just at the end of the Industrial Revolution. God help us. 1889. How would they explain that? Oh, no, don't mention that. That doesn't suit the narrative. Can't do that. No. Don't mention that. The first ever flower grown in space on this day in 1916. And Paul McCartney is arrested in Tokyo for possession of marijuana, and not for the first time. 1980. Spent 9 days in jail before they deported him. Anyway, he survived all of that. We can all mostly survive the embarrassments of life. Thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. Hey, listen, you must ring us on Friday and tell us what you thought of Pete's The Sweetest Ride, his new song and new video clip. We'd love to know. We'll get you into the dining room table and you can tell us.
Okay.
Okay. You got to ring us and tell us what you thought of it. It's a very pretty song.
Thank you, Jeremy.
No, congratulations again. Thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton is behind the camera. Look forward to your company tomorrow. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.